get my card out, and I hand it across the counter. And then the next thing, boom, I literally black out. Just hello and welcome back to the vlog. Down in the man cave, testing out some music for the vlog here, with, you know, kind of background music, and still looking for some sconces. If you've been here since the man cave video, thank you. I really appreciate that. But I come down here and I listen to this music on like 60. And so I don't know what everyone else's creative process looks like. But to me, music is a big part of my life, but a part of these videos. And so, you know, hopefully it puts a certain feeling on it, but also hopefully it numbs some of the consistent talking that goes on. So, anyway. Yeah, I like it. Try to do a video every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at this point. So, talk about the ultimate behind the scenes. This is literally what I do to try to get the right vibe. So you all know, if you've bought or sold a home, there's a ton of paperwork that goes into this. Not just before with your agent and signing agreements and everything just to get the house listed or just to go find that house. But my goodness gracious, here lately, I mean, again, if you've been following along, 4 under contract now. So we're slammed right now, which is fantastic. I could not be more excited about that. But if you are working with me right now, you understand that there is a lot changing in this world right now. And there's a lot of amendments and there's a lot of junk paperwork that comes along with this. Sit at the closing table for an hour and all you do is sign away. So we are going to talk a little more about this process in terms of the paperwork, because now we do have tools and things that can help us out digitally, but I would be lying to you if I told you that all of this worked all the time, because you know technology is wonderful when it works and a real pain when it doesn't. So
I don't like it.
A lot of paperwork today, so we're going to talk a little bit about it and some of the tools that I use, not just a printer, to make it as simple and easy and painless as possible. In addition to normal business paperwork, today just for some reason is a lot of paperwork day. So I've got 2 cars and then the boat trailer to register with the state of Georgia. My birthday's in August, so it's 45 days, I guess. Yeah, something like that. That they send those out. So those are going in. That all is done online now, which is fantastic. But these 2 little beauties are going to the secure post office box so that we can, those are taxes, quarterly estimated taxes. When you're self-employed or when you are at 1099, you have to do that. Unless you want to get into trouble with the IRS, which no one does. Where was I going with this? Oh, so I know I have made like light of taxes and stuff. Look, at the end of the day, these are first world problems, first of all. I'm happy to pay taxes. I'm happy to be in this country. I'm happy to be able to work and produce income to provide for my family and future generations. So I don't want you ever to think that like this is a political vlog. We don't talk about money. Well, we kind of talk about money a little bit. Not personal finances. We'll never get into that. But we won't talk about politics. We won't talk about religion. And we'll try to keep money out of it as it relates to your personal finances or my personal finances. But we will talk about money as a 30,000 foot view subject. Does that make any sense? My daughter's definitely not super happy about taxes.
I don't like it.
Me neither. Amen, sister. By the way, apron and ladle right here. We're gonna do a little Porsches and coffee event here next month in July. And so anyway, in the midst of all this paperwork junk going on this morning, stopped in there to talk with them about doing this event next month, Porsches and Coffee, that we do once a month with the Peach State Porsche Club that I'm a part of, just as a member, nothing else. But I like to help out every once in a while. I used to do social for them. And so we're gonna do an event. I just feel so bad for these small businesses right now. Like, I mean, I know I talk about like paying taxes and what a pain it is, whatever. But like, these guys would be happy to write tax checks right now. You know what I mean? Like, they would be thrilled to have to pay more in taxes. And to me, business in general is just about perspective. I think way too often we forget that like a lot of businesses have vaporized overnight here in the last 3 or 4 months. And so I'm hoping we can bring 75 to 100 people in here and do Porsches and Coffee, which is 9 to 11. We're gonna do it on July 18th. So if you're in the Sandy Springs area, like cars, you don't have to be a member. You can just come on by, take a, walk around, take a look at the cars, bring the kids, blah, blah, blah. Just perspective. Gosh. Evidently to print, you need printer ink. Every time I come to this Target, there's a story attached to this Target. There's a CVS in here, and for 36 years, I never got a flu shot. Never got the flu. I guess the year I turned 37, I got the flu. I went all the way to 37 without getting the flu and without getting a flu shot. And when I turned 37, after I got the flu, I had to come here and get a flu shot. A little known fact, well, unless you just know me, I hate shots. You could draw blood out of me all day long. I'm good with that. But stuff coming in, injections, is a whole nother story. So anyway, at this Target, at the CVS inside, I got my first flu shot when I was 36 actually, now that I think about it. I got my shot. I was sitting down, she did the thing. I got up to go pay for the vaccination because at the time it was a copay thing, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, I stood up, I walk over to pay for it, I get my card out, and I hand it across the counter. And then the next thing, boom, I literally black out, just pass out completely. So
I don't like it.
every time I walk into this Target, I'm like, I get kind of queasy and stuff. And to make matters worse, I call my wife and I'm like, I got my flu shot, I'm coming home. And she's like, okay, good. And I'm like, yeah, I blacked out. I passed out in freaking Target in the middle of the pharmacy, like down one of the aisles, because I was at the cash register. And she starts laughing. I'm like, how dare you? So anyway, now it's just a funny story we tell. Leave a comment below. Is there a place that you go, and especially if it's regularly now, like in your neighborhood, in your area that you live, that like there's a story attached to that location? Because now I can't walk in here without thinking about that. And anytime someone tells me about their trip to this Target, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one I blacked out in. Anywho, as far as paperwork goes in a real estate transaction, as we said before, whether you're buying or selling, there's just paperwork that comes into the mix even before you go look at one house, right? So if you're working with a buyer's agent, you have to sign a brokerage agreement, a buyer's brokerage agreement, to work with that agent. They are going to represent you. They're going to do the paperwork for you. They're going to advise you. They're not going to tell you what to do. They're going to advise you, consult with you, and if they aren't, you need a new agent, about what you're about to do and about the decisions that you're about to make, because this is a big decision. All right, back home. Gonna get a new cartridge in there. But if you're a seller, you're going to sign what's called an exclusive or a non-exclusive listing agreement, which is going to be your agreement with that agent, with that brokerage, about your relationship with them. You're also going to have a seller's disclosure, which is the storybook to your house, how old the roof is, how old the HVAC is, a lot of really pertinent information that a buyer, all buyers, want to know. Whether it's a piece of land, Hold on. Oh. I was like, what is this thing going on? You gotta turn it around. This is why you can't vlog and print. Okay.
I don't like it.
Where was I? Seller's agreement. Seller's disclosure, right? So that's the storybook for the house, what everything is, basically, right? Its current condition. The way that I tell people to fill that out is very, very carefully, right? Because if you don't know, we don't want to put it on there. So it's a yes/no thing. How old is the HVAC? 10 years old. Has it ever been serviced? Yes or no? I mean, that's not a question. I'm just saying, giving you an example here. So in addition to the seller's disclosure, you also have to have a community association disclosure if there's an HOA community association that is, the house is part or the land is part of an HOA or a community association, HOA, so on and so forth. What the fees are there, initiation, transfer, what it includes, so on and so forth, contact information, blah, 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 blah. The final thing that we have to have here in Georgia is a lead disclosure. If your house was built before 1978, we have to have it in general, but it has to say it has lead or it doesn't. The reason that this is a big challenge right now is because if all you Chip and Joanna fans out there want to go pick up a lead painted mantle or lead painted fill in the blank and then put it in your house, that might have lead in it. It may not, but it may. And if it's a permanent fixture like not a mantle, trim, an iron trim thing that was painted, or a light fixture that was lead painted, you just don't know. And so even new construction, we still fill this out because you don't know what happened. You don't have the full story there, right? Obviously, I recommend to a lot of my buyers, hey, we should probably have this house tested for lead, especially if it was built before 1978, because everything was painted in lead. But maybe that's an exaggeration. What else? Seller's disclosure, community association disclosure, lead, listing agreement. That's what's required in Georgia for any it doesn't matter who you're working with, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, like just Remax, doesn't matter. That's required. In addition to that, my office requires a couple other things. The first is this affiliated marketing disclosure, which basically says we have a list of preferred or affiliated vendors that we use here in our office. You are not required to use them by Georgia law. You can use whoever you want as a buyer or as a seller. For closing, for lending, for your homeowner's insurance, all of it, you have choices as the buyer and as the seller. So there's that. One of the more important ones is this. Could you keep it down? I'm trying to vlog. Good grief. All the appliances around this house are ridiculously loud. Identity theft and wire fraud awareness. And basically, with the rise of cybersecurity problems, issues, hacks, blah, 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 we get you as my client, both sides, buyer or seller, to sign. You done? Trying to vlog. We get you to sign this so that you know, as a buyer, when you go to wire something, if you see something come from LaMarsh.com, it ain't me. I ain't want your money. I'll get mines. But this protects you as the buyer, but also as the seller. You sign this so that if you get a request from Matt@MattLaMarsh.com, my email address, by the way, do not send me money. It ain't me. There's phishing, there's cybersecurity problems are a very, very, very real thing in 2020. So anyway, that's that. And by the way, this is just a very high level. If you guys ever want me to go through a listing agreement and like what it says and what you should be looking out for, stuff like that, just let me know. I'm happy to help with that. And I can do a deeper dive if that's of value. Leave a comment below if you want that. Say, I want that, and that's it. And then I'll know, and we're good. Back to you buyers for a moment. In addition to your buyer's brokerage agreement, you are going to have a financial contingency, unless you're paying cash, in which case you'll have a cash exhibit. You will sign, when you go to make your offers and so on, the community association that we talked about for the sellers and the seller's disclosure that we also talked about with the sellers. So those 5 things, in addition to the affiliated marketing, as well as the wire fraud. The last piece, when you go to make your offer, is the purchase and sale agreement, which again, if you want to go deeper, we can do that. We'll go through page by page and show you everything. Again, I want that. But the purchase and sale, that is your offer, and eventually a counter offer, potentially, That's the next step in the process. So once you got all that other paperwork out of the way, you are at the offer stage. You're ready to go and make an offer on a house. You have your purchase and sale agreement. That is completed by your agent, your buyer's agent. When you are out purchasing a home, as a seller, you will see that offer come in. You will see a purchase agreement come in with a number on it, with a closing date, with everything on it, all the details and the terms of that contract, and of that offer, of that agreement, if you will. So that's it. That's really all there is. That's a short, sweet version of paperwork prior to closing. Then closing, an hour's worth, and you're done. So going back to the cybersecurity wire fraud discussion, right? In 2020, you don't have to print all this out. You can send all of this electronically through a secured platform like a DocuSign, like a .loop, like I'm sure there's other, eSign I think is another one we used to use, something like that. But anyway, all of this can be done electronically. But what you really, really need to be careful of, if you're a buyer or a seller, if you see it coming from my platform, if I tell you I'm going to send you a DocuSign document or envelope of documents, which can include all of this paperwork in one, which is great. You just attach them all there, they're all there, you hit send, you sign, you initial and sign and date and blah, blah, blah. You put you as the agent, fill all that in, and then you as the buyer or seller, just go through and click sign, 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 initial, date, name. And as long as everything's kosher and you're good with it, I, as your agent, get that completed envelope, that completed set of documents or single document, and it's done. It's that simple. Now, I still like to do everything in paper sometimes, especially with my older folks that aren't super savvy with e-signature stuff, but more and more people are going this way. All right, see, you didn't know paperwork could be that much fun, did you? That is the vlog, though. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We do have to get a lot of this paperwork filled out today, so that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of it. But anyway, thank you guys again for watching. Really, really appreciate it. Hopefully this was helpful. I mean, I tried to make it short, sweet, simple. But again, if you want to hear more about this process, you want to set up a buyer's consultation. This is exactly what I do with clients all day long. Doesn't matter which side. Talk about paperwork, because that's a lot of what this business is. And then strategy and marketing and sales and timing and interest rates and blah, 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 blah. This is the bulk of it. So if you ever want to have a discussion about that, feel free to reach out anytime. 678-687-4397 is my cell phone. You can call or text anytime. We've been hitting the mark here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 o'clock. We're getting into our groove here. So really, really appreciate you guys following along. Again, hopefully there was something of value here. Really appreciate it, though. Thank you so much. Smash that subscribe button and have a wonderful rest of your day. Talk to you later. Bye.
London boy, but they see where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out.